I really try to read a wide array of works, gain a lot of perspective from just different points of view. So I'm always
Mhm.
having to actively go out and search or find different perspectives that challenge my own belief systems because I know how powerful belief drives behavior. And I think it's interesting on 2 points. Number one, 95% when working with financial brand leaders, and I explain to them 95% of behavior runs at a subconscious level that we're not even aware of. So there's a lack of awareness, there's a lack of consciousness to that. The other side of the equation is whenever I ask financial brand leaders, particularly on marketing and sales team, how would you define marketing in one word? What would that one word be? And they say, "Oh, it's advertising. Oh, it's content. It's social media. It's email. It's all of these different channels." And I go, "That's very interesting." But I would say, no, I think marketing in one word can be defined as influence. And they
Mhm.
they they pause for a minute. They've never really thought of it that way. I go, well, think about it. Why are you communicating these different messages through these different channels? What's your end goal? They
Mhm.
say, well, want to apply for a loan or open an account. So you're wanting to influence behavior then per se? They said, yeah. So it's just fascinating that even those working within the world of marketing aren't consciously thinking about the influence that they have on other people's decision. And if we're not thinking that, how many those we'll just say consumers on the day to day, and maybe that's why we're in the situation that we're in, where 80-85% of people in the United States feel some type of financial stress or financial anxiety regardless of income level. What's your take?
Yeah. I, I mean, look, I think that marketing's propaganda, right? That's what it is. You are trying to change minds. You're trying to influence behavior. I think that the average American consumer, we've had neuromarketing at play for over 20 years now, where basically there's companies where they're not even going to test groups anymore and saying, hey, what do you think of this? They're just hooking them up and seeing how their brain reacts. And the marketing's being done based on the reaction in your brain, totally going to that subconscious level. Like, I don't think people have any concept of how highly tuned all of this is becoming and how it's a threat, because they just go, oh well, I just don't shop online. Okay, I'm usually going to find a hole somewhere. I'm like, okay, great, can you go to your Apple phone and can you go to subscriptions? But before you do that, how many do you think you have? Oh, three. It's never three, it's always more. Okay, so you don't have that. Well, what about how many TV, like think about it: Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, you know Paramount, every single studio now. Remember, it used to be, oh, we're going to get away from cable and save money. Now you have all of these where it starts off with a 7-day trial. I see bank statements where I'm like, you make $3,000 a month and you're spending $600 a month on TV. Are you aware of this? No, because people aren't looking at bank statements anymore either, because everything's so digital. The awareness of what is occurring isn't happening. And do I think that banks and everyone's conspiring against the consumer? No, I think they see all of this as a convenience, right?
Sure.
Well, we have the app on our phone. It's great. It's visible. I don't think people are sitting there going long term thinking about the potential damage. And I also think the people I think the people who make the decisions, they don't deal with regular consumers. So they're not seeing the stuff that I see. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect
Kind of.
sense. No, and I think there's another layer to this, particularly from people like you and I. I have been in the digital world since I started this business back in 2001. I mean, the internet was still in its relative infancy. There was really no social media back then. It's like I saw the rise of that. There was no YouTube, although I will tell you, I remember going to a Macromedia MX conference in San Antonio, Texas, where they were launching Flash MX with Swanson Squeeze, and it showed the potential for video. And I said, "Wow, to add a human element to the internet
Mhm.
and to websites really got me excited because I'm
Yeah.
Well, let's say I'm on team humanity here. Like I want to see people succeed. I want to see people thrive, but at the same time, I'm a recovering digital addict. That's not hyperbole. Like I have really struggled. It almost cost me a marriage, struggled with other types of digital addiction. And then, my wife is sitting here calling me out. And I'm like, no, no, it's not a problem until I'm like, you know what? What's the first step when you struggle with addiction? You got to admit you have a
Yeah.
problem. And it's been probably a decade journey to where number one, I uninstalled email from my phone. So I have no email on my phone. Then it was
Hmm.
social media. And then the third one was I actually uninstalled my web browser. And in iOS, you have Safari. It got to
Hmm.
the point to where I could circumvent having it quote unquote uninstalled because you can't really uninstall it. You just have to unselect it. So I'd go into the system settings, reselect it, find it right back on my phone. And I finally said, look, here's my phone, put a password in. Do not allow me to put this because what was happening is I love to learn.